I'm at the 14-hour mark. Basically, it's about 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. last night was when I ate dinner, and that was basically my second of 2 meals of the day. And the last 3 days, basically yesterday, the day before, and the day before, I basically have been eating twice a day, like normal. I almost never snack or eat desserts or whatever anymore. At least that's relatively rare, maybe once a week, something like that. So anyways, and also for the last 3 days, I've been eating mostly zero carb or carnivore diet. I'm going to end up with a carnivore diet again, going back to zero carb, eating largely meats, and I may occasionally slip in something else, but we're just going to try it for a while. And this is the first update, and the next update I'll let you know how it's gone between now and then.
Alright, so far I'm at the 20-hour mark, not really having any issues yet other than being a little hungry. I'm not really starving at this point, but I can start to feel, like I want to eat something. I'm actually next to a break room, and food is being heated up quite a bit throughout the late morning and early afternoon, so that's something I've got to get used to. But I'm not uncomfortable, and just sticking with it. And with about 20 hours since my last meal, I've got another 4 hours to go before I've completed my first full day of fasting.
Okay, so I'm home after a long day at work. I'm finally unwinding, and where I'm right now at the 24-hour mark with regard to my fast. So day one is in the books, and the only issue I've had so far today really that's been significant has been hunger. At about the 16-hour mark of this fast, I started to get hungry, which is about typical because I normally eat in an 8-hour feeding window, so normally I'm not eating for 16 hours. So about normal, just afternoon, I started, well, in this case, because I woke up extra early, I was at the 12-hour mark at 6 a.m., but by the time noon rolled around, that was closer towards the 18-hour mark, and by then I was actually hungry. So that falls in line with what I'm recalling. And now in the last 8 hours, I've taken 3 sets of pills that are really just 2 pills, the electrolyte pills. One is basically one with 4 different ingredients, basically, like sodium and magnesium and potassium and something else I can't recall, and then an additional potassium pill. So that's 2 pills I took today, twice, and then once with my meal at 6 p.m. yesterday. So I'm trying not to overdo it on pills, but that's kind of how that's been going. The other side effect has been I've been a little bit more muted in terms of like energy level. I haven't been like low on energy, but I've just been sort of like really calm and relaxed. And that's not bad necessarily, but I'm a little bit lower key than normal. So I'm going to keep going till about midnight, and I'll probably try to provide one more update in that time. Okay, it's time for me to go to bed. I can't stay up any longer. I didn't quite make it till midnight, but that's fine. I'll have a long day tomorrow. I want to do a quick little wrap up here as far as how things have been going, and I want to say that I've gotten over that hump as far as hunger. I guess after watching enough YouTube videos on water fasting and ketogenic diets and the carnivore diet and enough stuff without watching a lot of videos on food, just got over that hump, that ghrelin spike that made me hungry for so long. So I'm actually pretty content, and I'm about to head on to bed, and that's basically going to do it for today. Tomorrow I will update you some more. Okay, so last night was rougher than I had anticipated. I'm at the 37.5-hour mark right now, and I had a very hard time sleeping last night. Basically, I was a little bit low on energy yesterday, which is fine, but by the time it came around for me to go to bed closer to midnight, I was actually wide awake. I didn't have a lot of energy, but I was completely awake. I literally could not go to sleep for several hours throughout the night, and I think that was fortunate to some extent because I had 2 Charlie horses, or nearly had 2 Charlie horses. As soon as I felt one of my legs start to lock up, I immediately straightened it out and was able to avoid a Charlie horse. But that happened twice. So that was a little annoying. I have not had a lot of sleep last night. And in my previous fasts that I've done, 2 succeeded and 1 attempted, 2-day fast, I had not had this degree of problem, particularly in staying awake and in experiencing 2 Charlie horses or 2 attempted Charlie horses throughout the night. So that's something I've got to deal with.
Okay, so I'm 48 hours into my 2-day water fast, and I've reached the end of the line. So in about an hour, I'll have some riblets for dinner, and I wanted to pass along some tips into this video. So this has definitely been a learning experience for me. I'm handling this fast worse than I did those 2 tries 3 and 4 years ago respectively, and I think that's really for 2 reasons. The first one is that I'm older, so that's one thing to keep in mind is your age here, and there's nothing you can do about that. And the second reason that I had a harder time with this fast than previous times is that I'm skinnier. I've never tried fasting at such a low weight. The 3-day fasts that I started at many years ago, each time I started at 180 pounds. And I haven't been below 165 pounds in decades. But when I weighed in this morning, I weighed in at 164.0 exactly. So I lost 1.6 pounds since I've started, and I've literally not seen that number in decades. So it is possible to lose weight in a fast, but the lighter you are, the less weight you're going to lose. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Also, I did have the start of 2 Charlie horses last night, and because I was awake throughout the night and I had a hard time sleeping, I was able to sort of catch when these Charlie horses were occurring, and I basically stretched my legs out and moved them a bit to help to prevent that pain from occurring. So that was kind of an upside to still being awake, but the downside was I was in some pain because of the Charlie horses, despite me taking electrolytes. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. So this has been a learning experience, and I think that learning from what I've seen now in the last couple of days is I can do about a 36-hour fast, maybe a little bit longer without issues. So for example, if I eat noon on one day, then fast through the evening, and then the next day, and then eat at about 8 p.m. the following night, roughly about 36 hours, I could probably do that just fine. And I could then maybe follow that up with another 24-hour fast, or even potentially a 40-hour fast, skipping meals that entire following day and then eating by noon the following morning. But it's one of those things where I'll just sort of play it by ear and see how that goes. So the main thing to look at as well when you're trying these fasts is to start small, work your way up, and then if you run into stumbling blocks, try to adapt to it and learn how to do things. So there are still some upsides to this. Like, for example, day 2, I haven't been hungry at all today, and I was able to deal with all the cooking in the break room nearby without any sort of an issue, and I also stopped feeling cold today. So it's one of those things you have to realize when you're going through these fasts is you'll also adapt over time to how they are, and they won't feel so bad. So I felt normal once I got into work early this morning, and I've been fine all day. But ending this fast, I had considered going 3 days, 4 days, or even longer potentially, or maybe going for sure up to 3 days. But my experience last night basically taught me that I think I'm satisfied with where I'm at now, and 2 days is great, and I use this to try maybe another 36-hour fast in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.